Hello again, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Monday Night Magic here on the MTG Cast Network. I'm Chewie, and hey look, we're actually recording this week.
What?
Yeah. That very bizarre sound effect was Squee.
See.
And the not very bizarre sound effect was Cluze.
Hey, I made no sound effect. What episode is this?
588.
588-2300. Carpet next day, payment next year. If you know what that means, tweet at Chewie, I'm going to say.
Sure. Tweet at me.
Great.
Let's go.
Tweet at the Mana Pool. Go to themanapool.com, youtube.com/themanapool.
Wait, is that Empire?
Yes, it is. Way to give it away. But yes, it is totally Empire.
Well, now that you all know, tweet it at the Maniple.
Do not tweet it at me. But that's a different tagline than what I've heard.
Well, it was one of their series of commercials back in my youth, so in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, they were based out of Chicago, so I knew them before they were national. How's that for hipster?
Nice.
For a carpet delivery place.
It's weird though, like the jingle popped into my head right about the time and I was like, yep, tweet at me, because I also don't 588-2300
Empire. Yeah, that's why I was so tickled that it's episode 588.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know
so
what you're
wonderful.
saying now. I get you.
So once we get to episode 2300, Cluze.
I will be back. Somehow. I don't
From
know
beyond
how.
the grave.
From beyond the grave.
Let's see. So 2300 minus 588 is 1712. Divide that by 52 is... Well, that's only in 32 years.
Look, that's a lot of faith in us actually putting out an episode every week.
All right, hang on.
Yeah.
Times 52. Okay, divide it by, we'll call it
49? 48?
Yeah, so that's only 34 years, almost 35.
Oh man, that's like how old I am.
Yeah, okay, let's not think about that. So, yes, hello, we are recording this week, even though we really, really, really thought hard about not, because Bill pointed out if we didn't, we would have 3 weeks in a row without a show.
Because, big shocker, in 1 week is Christmas, and the week after that is the world celebration of my birthday. So, those are both
Correct.
unlikely to have magic news.
And also unlikely for us to want to... Well, I know we're not recording on Christmas Day. January 1st is slightly less whatever, but still don't want to record that night. So, yeah, I don't think we've had 3 weeks without a show since I took over. I don't think.
I don't believe so.
So
I think the longest was 2 around one of the other Christmases.
Probably. So, here we are. So this might be slightly shorter. So, let's get right into it. There were 2 Grand Prix, Grands Prix this weekend, and both were Ixalan Limited, so hey, no one cares.
The final Ixalan Limited Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, because by the time there's another Limited GP, it's going to have Rivals, right?
Yep.
Well, how about them apples? Apples.
Delicious.
I prefer strawberries? Yeah.
I mean, that's understandable. They are better.
Whoa. That's not right in any way.
You think that apples are better than strawberries?
I do.
You are such a teacher.
I absolutely hate strawberries.
Are you
But I
allergic
love
to
apples.
strawberries? You just
No,
don't
that's
like them?
cherries.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm allergic
Just
to cherries.
allergic to red?
No, because I play mountains.
Yeah, but you also go on boats and say you hate blue. I don't think you're consistent.
Okay, I've gone on record multiple times trying to explain that the color, the actual wavelengths of the electromagnetic spectrum that correspond to blue, I rather enjoy. It's blue, the color in Magic, that I do not. I also like water, still don't like blue in Magic.
You're the one who brought up magic in defense of red when I said that you don't eat red food.
Okay, so now that we
this
have...
is the kind of quality you're going to get when you get us on a short week. Magic Limited.
So there were 1,133 people playing Limited in GP Jersey, and
Is that a limited number?
Let's say yes, because I don't know what a limited number would mean exactly in this context.
Number of players playing limited. That was the pun. It's not great. It's not my best work. It's a short
correct.
week. What do you want from me?
Good point. Okay, so Cale Thompson won. He beat out Seth Manfield to get there. So Seth Manfield's in second. Gerard Fabiano finished in third. Mike Sigrist finished in fourth, who Cale Thompson also beat. So, that's
how you get first.
Yeah. Just knock out two of the best players that are currently playing. No probs. Got it.
That's all you have to do.
In fifth place, we have Daniel Weiser. In sixth place, Valentin Mackel. In seventh place, Nicholas Mohammed. And in eighth place, Joshua Taylor. They were playing, 40-card decks, so whatever.
It's a good strategy in limited.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Also, kudos to the person updating the website today for actually putting their names on their pictures.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Because we know that technology never went away. I looked at the source. You guys just got lazy.
Those bastards. So, that's...
I've done some digging on the deck lists, and I have something really important to share.
Okay.
They were all running between 15 and 17 lands.
Bold strategy.
Yep, that's it. That's all I got for limited.
So you're saying this is not an 18-land format?
Nope, and I was a little surprised by the 15, to be honest with you.
Hey, sometimes you get to go crazy. Who was running 15?
That was Gerard
G-Fabs,
Fabiano.
Yeah. Well, yeah, dude, he's running like Boros.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you look at his deck? It's pretty...
It's what you would play.
Yeah, but even so, man, 15, that just feels like begging for trouble.
It's cool. He's got a wily goblin in there to make treasure.
Yeah, dude.
And that's all I got as far as in-depth analysis of deck lists in limited.
Fair enough. Be sure, dear listeners, if you do go check out the coverage, to click on the top moments, if for no other reason than to scroll down and see our judge buddy Charles Featherer as Dr. Judge. It's impressive. Looking sharp there, buddy. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
Not a clue.
Oh, no, I followed the link.
Oh, okay. So Bill hasn't, but that's okay.
That sounds like me.
So one other thing happened that caused a little bit of a ruckus in GP New Jersey. A slight kerfuffle, nothing huge, but I would like to remind Cluze that there is no swearing on Monday Night Magic.
Yeah, it's a good thing you remind. I tried to get it all out of my system before the show.
Yo, I noticed. So,
and that's what you can get if you're a Patreon supporter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cluze uncut.
So there was, and I accidentally closed it. Hang on.
Nice work.
Here it is. Okay, so there was, I accidentally closed it right then.
Journalism.
There was a tweet by, the name is Ben Feingersh, apparently. And the tweet reads as follows. Unbelievable ruling by hashtag GPNJ head judge just now. Sit down for deck construction. I have a bomb rare on top of my stack. Guy across from me says, glad I'm not in your pod. Head judge swoops in and match losses him out of top 8 contention with no chance to appeal. And this caused a non-zero amount of kerfuffle, let's say.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I, for one, was one of those people that went, oh, that seems not right. But then Cluze swore at me several times. So.
I did a lot. I was loud. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're not. And he didn't necessarily change my mind, but he did soften my view of it. So, he was match lost out of top 8 contention by outside assistance.
Yep.
And I will now turn it over to Cluze, no swearing, to discuss further. Or to explain further.
I appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, this was essentially textbook outside assistance ruling. So here's the things you need to understand. Now, first of all, I was not there. I did not witness these events. Second of all, I am not privy to any information that you guys can't find on these threads on Twitter or Reddit or, pick your favorite social media, MySpace, let's say Vine. I assume there was a Vine about this.
Vine's dead, dude.
I was going to say,
yeah, I know.
Vine even still a thing?
So is MySpace. Or GeoCities. Totally all over GeoCities. Latest news. So outside assistance. Look, there are certain things that you would easily recognize as outside assistance. So somebody walks up behind you while you are playing a match and looks at your hand and goes, "Oh man, you need to play this card because your opponent, can't answer that." Okay, that's clearly outside assistance. But if you go and you read outside,
or that guy at Gen Con who was cosplaying as Jace, who walked past people playing and pointed at a guy and said, "Hey, glad I'm in your hand." That's
yes,
outside assistance.
Also clearly outside assistance. But some things that people may not realize is that outside assistance can also occur during deck building. So if you have a limited game, and this is something that, I'm going to say most of our audience's experience with limited probably happens at things like FNM. And there, if your buddy walks by and is like, "Oh, yeah, man, you should really build your deck this way," nobody really cares. It's FNM. But when you're at a GP, things change, particularly when you're at day 2 of a GP, when you are now at not just competitive rules enforcement, but professional rules enforcement. And one of the things, and again, I was not at this tournament, so I cannot say this for sure, but one of the things that is typically announced when you have the limited portion of the match is essentially there's no talking. Okay, when you are drafting, there is no reason for you to be talking to your neighbors about anything. When you are deck building, there is no reason for you to be talking to anybody about anything. And so they'll tell you after you have drafted, you have an assignment of where you're going to go for deck building, and they'll tell you there should be no talking during this time period. Just go, build your deck, fill out your deck list, turn in your deck list, we'll be done with it, that'll be fine. And that is not what occurred here. Someone was talking. Now, you can make the argument of, "Oh, he was just, having a polite conversation." At the same time, he's pointing out that the card that was on top of his stack of cards was a really good card. Now, it can be argued that yes, he clearly knew this was a good card. That's why he drafted it. But here's the thing, you shouldn't be talking at this point. We have a bright line there, a nice bright line painted in the sand. Don't ask why we're painting sand. This is not a great metaphor. We have a bright line in the sand. Just don't cross it, and everything will be fine. It was clearly crossed, therefore everything is clearly not fine, therefore match loss. The reason that there was no appeal is because the head judge made the ruling. Who are you going to appeal to? You normally appeal to the head judge, their ruling is final. Okay, the head judge just made their ruling. It is now final. So, ta-da, match loss. There you go.
Still seems kind of harsh for a match loss for that, but...
Well, that's the penalty for outside assistance, is match loss.
Seems like there should be degrees on that. Like, an offhand comment during deck building that was clearly not... intended as, "Hey, do this, you'll do better," which outside assistance implies, assistance.
Bright line.
So I think the thing to note here that ignoring the fact that Cluze is like, these are the rules because they are the rules, that is the punishment, that's just how it goes.
Right.
When you go into why that's the rule and why they have to treat it that way, it's because in order for people to have a fair experience in these events, you actually don't want a judge to make a judgment call if they don't have to. And if this were to occur and it was, oh, well, clearly this doesn't count or that does, now you have a much more complicated thing to be consistent about. It's really obvious in the obvious cases, but you can't just write for the obvious cases. You have to say the only way to make sure that there is no way, shape, or form someone using vague or tricky or, corner... edge case language, you have to just say don't talk. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. And from a philosophical standpoint, and I'm not saying that this is the true philosophy behind why this rule is enforced the way it is, but the way I think of it is, outside assistance is one of those penalties that or one of those problems, one of those infractions that we can't really fix, right? You make a misplay, we can fix that. You tapped the wrong mana, we can fix that. Outside assistance, once that information is out, there's no way to put it back. There's no way to rewind that to a game state before they got that information. Once they have that information, it's too late. So this is outside assistance is behavior that we want to discourage in the harshest way we can. That's why it's a match loss.
And to have that, occasionally you get outliers like this where it's kind of BS. But in order for it to have the effect that you want, sometimes that's going to happen.
Now there was an uproar, and they may revisit this rule. They may alter this in the IPG. I'd rather they didn't. I think that their bright lines are nice because you can count on them. They should be enforced the same way all the time. They aren't always, and that is a problem, but that's a separate problem. But bright lines are nice because then everybody can count on them. Everyone is clear. This is the thing you cannot do. Just don't do that. And we don't have to worry about wandering into gray area and getting it called one way at one event and another way at a different event. We want to try and avoid that. So I'm worried that they will soften this to the point that it'll become, I don't quite want to say meaningless, but I don't want it watered down is what I don't want. And that's all I have to say about this.
This leads me to wonder, though, like, if the bomb rare hadn't been on top, if no cards were visible, and he just happened to say that out loud, what would have happened?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
I mean, the thing is, the real issue is that this is a rule that exists and people aren't aware of it and not taking it seriously because it's not always enforced. If this were just a thing that happens, like you don't look at someone else's cards while you're drafting, and we all knew that and it was just always enforced every time it was seen, then there would be no issue. It's that people are used to it not being enforced, and so they get a little more sloppy with it. And then when it is enforced, it feels like someone's being selective about enforcement, which makes everyone feel bad. I kind of think that this is one of those cases where if it was enforced consistently enough, it wouldn't matter if someone was saying when's lunch.
Yeah.
Like, it's just shut up while you do this is the actual rules, period. You can ask about food after you build your deck and walk away from the table, or whatever the rules are there. Like, obviously, you can ask a judge a question if you have to. That's about the only talking that's allowed here. The judge will tell you when lunch is. But don't talk if you're not supposed to talk, and don't put someone else in the situation of deciding whether or not they're enforcing a rule this time around, regardless of your intent. Just make it easier for yourself and everyone else. And if they decide after this that, yeah, that's too much, well, then they'll tell you. But until then, that's the way the rule works. So be aware. This is professional level. It's not as casual as all the situations people are probably going to think of where they've gotten away with this at F&M and the like.
It's true. All right, then. So, other GP?
Other GP.
Before, I would like to note from the tweet, the head judge swoops. And you should watch out during head judge swooping season. You should wear a helmet. They are very dangerous. They will come in at you from above and they will pun you. And you don't want that.
No, you want that.
Not at that angle, you don't.
No. There is a certain angle where punning is tolerated. And then there's an angle where it's unacceptable. And that is the swooping angle because it is a rapid descent of pun. No, unacceptable.
See?
Watch out.
More puns. My takeaway from that was more puns.
Oh my God. All right.
You are a monster. Moving on.
Let's go to GP Singapore, where 575 people were playing the limited.
Is that also a limited number?
In this context, yeah.
Note
Thank
to
you.
self. Dig a shallow grave by the tracks.
You don't even edit the show. You're not going to dig a hole.
That's true. That was a Penny Arcade reference.
Yes, let alone drive all the way to here in order to murder me and take me back there to the hole you have dug.
Whoa! Who said anything about murdering anybody?
No one?
Jeez. Go nuts there, Cluze. Holy
but there's no swearing. I'm not allowed to go nuts.
Okay, so GP Singapore 575. The winner. Where did my?
Did you close that tab too?
No, I still have the same number. Oh, it got moved over here. That's a neat trick. Okay, sorry.
Redistribution.
All right, the winner was Lim Jong Yi. Was that right? That sounds right.
I believe in you.
Second place, we have Bill. Any help?
Han Min Shang? I don't know.
Okay,
I can't pronounce Chinese names, and I will not pretend.
Well, I know it's not Minxing, which is how it's said in
Obviously.
English. So
Yes.
okay, in third place we have Tamaharu Saito. He seems familiar to me.
I think you got that one right.
It's only because I've heard it a million times. In fourth place we have Gurong. In Mouse. There we go. In fifth place we have Yang Wing Chun. Check him out. That's another name that sounds vaguely familiar. In 6th place, we have Kenta Harane, who I'm pretty sure also sounds familiar. In 7th place, we have Shuhei Nakamura, who I'm almost certain I've heard of him before.
I like to think that he's going Batman in this picture because I can only see the bottom of his face.
Well, yeah. Shuhei Nakamura is Batman. That's why he sounds familiar. Haha.
Oh, yeah.
And then in 8th place...
New 52 is weird.
It really is, dude. And then in 8th place, we have Jefferson Lee. So there is your top 8.
Good time.
Yeah. But still a limited GP. And as far as we know, none of that nonsense happened. And if so, it didn't hit Twitter. So there's really nothing else to talk about here.
Yeah, it's not only a limited GP, it's limited GP in a format that will have no more limited GPs. So,
He's not
over.
wrong. All right. So that's our tournament news because
Hooray!
No Star City events until next year.
Yep.
So now we get on to the news, where we have a sad bit of news, at least for me. They have announced Duel Decks, Elves versus Inventors in April of 2018.
Yep.
The sad news is that will be the final Duel Decks.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's very sad to me.
Yeah.
Not that I have been able to afford buying the Duel Decks for some time now, but...
Yep, this will be the end of the 10-year run on Duel Decks.
Yeah.
That is very sad.
And most of them were, at the very least, enjoyable. There were a few outliers that were just bad. The first one that comes to mind is Divine versus Demonic. That was so unbalanced.
One-sided.
Knights versus Dragons was another one that was just like, oh my god. But those are the only ones that I personally know of that were like so unbalanced as to be miserable. Granted, there might have been some since I stopped buying them.
Could be. I just remember Divine versus Demonic as being like a textbook case of, well, this one's going to win.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was weighted towards Divine, right?
Yeah, because one side's main, flagship creature has a massive drawback of sacrificing things, and the other side's main flagship creature has protection from the other deck. Like, pretty rough.
There wasn't a Baneslayer in that.
No, it was a Chroma. Pro black against the mono black deck.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean, there were ways around that, but
yeah, there were like 3 answers for her in it, and most of them involved sacrifice. I hope it's your only creature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was not great. You could win. It was really hard.
And also, just in that one in particular, the curves were just bad. Like, white had better creatures at every
step of the curve.
Every mana cost, just without fail.
Yeah.
It was kind of bad.
Yeah,
What?
Oh, I was just saying, and also the other creatures in white were better than the other creatures in black. It was pretty rough.
Yeah. But I mean, the only reason that I keep harping on that one is because it was one of the rare, just bad ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elves versus Inventors will be the last one. And yeah, there you go.
Yep. It will be coming out on April the 6th at an MSRP of $29.99. No, that's entirely wrong.
Yeah, $19.99.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong part. I'm looking ahead. I apologize.
Bad at this game.
Womp womp.
Future shifted.
All right, so now we talk about the other half of the article, since I've already accidentally segued into it. So, you guys remember event decks?
Sure, yeah. Didn't they make an event deck and then they totally banned a card from standard, but you could still play the event deck if you played it completely intact, made no changes, even though it had a banned card?
Yeah, that was Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, there we go. I knew that happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, they're sort of bringing that back?
Kind of. So those things ran from Mirrored and Besieged through Battle for Zendikar, and then they just continued it. I believe the reasoning was that they weren't doing their job. And so now, a few years later, they can continue not doing their job in the form of Challenger decks.
Yay.
Challenger decks are your on-ramp to standard, according to this article. These 4 individual 75-card decks are geared towards standard play for Friday Night Magic player and forged out of some of the most powerful strategies in standard. Now, I know what you're thinking. Standard decks can get kind of expensive. And you're right. These are not. for an MSRP of $29.99. See, that thing that I said wrong before. You get these 75 cards with, your 75 sleeve, 75 cards, a deck box, spin down life counter, quick reference guide teaching you how the deck works, and at least 2 mythic rares. Emphasis on the at least. They italicized it. But yeah, this will be an interesting thing to see because I haven't played Standard in a while, but I'm pretty sure $30 didn't even cover the mana base.
Oh, of course it didn't cover the mana base. But it didn't cover, like, the remotely competitive parts of a deck either.
No.
Now, there is a note here from Gavin, who is the product architect of Challenger Decks, which...
Monday Magic alumni, Gavin Murray.
Yeah.
That's right.
But the way this works, he said, they're... Our play design team, full of seasoned pros, built these decks by looking at popular and successful Pro Tour and GP standard decks, and we didn't pull many punches. These decks are intended to be very strong and feature many rares as well as at least 2 mythic rares. Okay, that's not important. Traditionally, here's the important part. Traditionally, with fixed deck products, we've built them so far in advance that the decks wouldn't look like what players were playing by the time they were released, which is true. But with Challenger decks, we changed our entire process so that we could build them much, much closer to release. I think you're going to be very excited by what you see inside Challenger decks, and he'll be back to tell you a lot more in just a couple months. Now, the problem is these are coming out in April, and he's talking about them as if they're done, which is still like 5 months ahead of time.
Yeah.
And by the time these come out, Rivals will be out, and the next set after that will be damn near out. So...
Yep.
like, not entirely sure what that means.
Yeah, like I'm a little hesitant because they say that there are going to be 4 of them. And, here's hoping there are 4 viable strategies in Standard, but getting 4 viable strategies that don't also rely on a not insignificant number of mythic rares is pretty impressive for Standard. I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll give you a watered down version of a strategy, but aside from the occasional super aggressive budget deck, there's typically 1 of those in a format. I don't really see how they're going to balance 4 of these at, $30 MSRP.
I've got it. The bannings will continue until Challenger decks are viable.
So what you do is you put the good cards on the Challenger decks, and then you ban them so that you have to play the Challenger decks.
Ah. I like it.
Yeah, the thing with Stoneforge was just a test run.
Clearly. Now, note in here that it says, watch for the full deck list in February for these April 6 releases. So at the very least, you'll have them between 5 and 8 weeks out from their launch. After Rivals comes
February?
out. At the end of the Challenger deck section right before Gavin's part.
Oh. What? Okay, well maybe they're not done yet. Because
could be.
Like 2 months away is way better than like 5 months away.
It's possible they've already built what they think will happen, but are going to make the adjustments before.
Whatever.
Since they don't need to print new cards for this.
That would make a lot of sense. And as I understand it, haven't they been putting more focus on playtesting in things like Future League to try and look for broken problems?
Well, that's what they have the play design team for now. Like, that's their job.
So it's possible that they're going to be much better at this than they used to be, is what I'm saying.
I'm sure they'll be better at it. I think Chewie was just concerned that they say they're going to be closer, and then from the reading that he had before, it sounded like they were planning this stuff 4 months out. And no one can predict Standard 4 months and more than a set out.
Yeah, like he says, our play design team built these decks and we didn't pull many punches, which really sounds like they're done.
Yeah.
And it's the middle of December, and these come out in April.
Yeah.
And it's not that, Standard doesn't change much over that period of time, unless there's a set release in between, which there is.
Yeah.
But
I'm curious to see what the frequency of these things are too, because previously they tried to have 2 of them come out like every set.
Yeah.
And that was too much. Because they usually turned into the big stompy green one and the other one. And the big stompy green one was your source of Thragtusk for a year and a half. And the other one was the new deck on the block. So,
Yay, Thwagtusk. So there you go.
Good
Now
times.
I don't mean to come out and say that these are going to be bad. I'm just pointing out that the track record for this sort of thing is not good. And they're going to have to surprise me.
Chewie has some reservations.
Yeah, for lunch tomorrow. So let's wrap this up.
delicious.
Delicious. So it wouldn't be the final episode of the year without a surprise card reveal.
Da 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 da.
And this came straight from Aaron Forsyth. So this isn't, this didn't fall off the back of a truck. This didn't get opened in a pack of the previous set. This didn't get found in the parking lot of somewhere.
If this is a leak, it goes to the highest levels.
Yeah, because he's the
Watson.
senior design director. So yeah, this is Vona's Hunger. And it shows off a new thing and tells us what the city's blessing is for.
Hooray.
Or one of the things that it's for. So Vona's Hunger for 2 and a black is an instant that's rare. And it has Ascend. That's a keyword, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can, and the reminder text is as such. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game. Remember that? It was one of the tokens that they showed, and everyone was like, what does that do? And they didn't say. So, Vona's Hunger, 2 and a black, instant, Ascend. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Okay, that's pretty good. Instant for 3 mana, not bad. If you have the city's blessing, instead, each opponent sacrifices half the creatures he or she controls, rounded up.
That's rough.
That's way better for 3 mana.
Yeah.
So you have to control 10 or more permanents when you cast it,
When it resolves.
or when it resolves, rather, to get the city's blessing. And then it powers itself up, and presumably, it powers up many, many more things. Because the city's blessing, remember, was a token that just the city's blessing and had a bit of flavor text, and that was it. So, what I'm seeing for this, now, Ascend, since it's a keyword, it occurs to me that the reminder text is probably the same on all of them, because it's not an ability word where it can change.
That would be my assumption, yeah.
Which means that whenever you cast anything with resolve anything with Ascend,
Thank you.
you have to control 10 or more permanents to get the city's blessing. And it's a thing that you have to do once, and then resolve a spell that has Ascend, and then you're good to go for the rest of the game for the rest of your Ascend stuff. Because since this is all we've seen, I have to assume that you can't, interact with the city's blessing. It's going to be, I assume, sort of like an emblem.
Yeah, I suspect.
Presumably. I mean,
It might even be an emblem. It might end up in the command zone.
I'm sure it would live in the command zone. Isn't that where the monarch lives?
I think so.
I think that's where that's where your poison counters live and all that stuff too. I assume it'll be in there.
No, poison counters are on you as a player.
Oh, duh. Why did I even say that? That's dumb. Yeah, moving on. I don't know why I said that. I think it's just where we were putting the stupid cards. Anyway.
Yeah, that's where we put the little poison token.
Yeah, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
Don't take the thing I just said. That's just wrong. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was some effect that could get rid of it. There's nothing that says that you can't. It just, for exactly this card that we see right now, it looks like your goal will be to, on one of your cards, trigger that or resolve that. And then the rest of your cards get better. Kind of like some kind of threshold that's a lot harder to interact with.
Yeah.
And
But because it says you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game, you only have to do it once. And then
Yeah.
you're good for the rest of the game. You've leveled up, as it were.
yeah. Which is kind of neat because the way the card works, 2 and a black for that effect means that you have a spell that normally sucks in the late game. Sacrifice a creature. Whoop-de-doo. On turn 7+, they'll get rid of something small they don't care about. But they found a way for it to scale up without it having to cost more mana. So it's a nice way to have, these are early game cards and these are late game cards. And they're the same cards. that's nice.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of room to play with that. And also, I suspect that whenever they give you the ability to essentially get different value out of your cards in the late game without it just costing more mana, it's more fun to play.
Yeah.
You don't really get that temptation to just sit on this until the late game because it does something useful right now, as opposed to, this card kind of sucks until the late game. It just happens to not cost a lot of mana. Hopefully the rest of the design will reflect that. I'm fairly confident it will. Then again, we are looking at a rare, and they tend to be a little better at this, but I think it's cool. That's neat. I also expect there will be a lot of entertaining other things that people will bring to represent that they have the city's blessing, because you don't have to use the little tokeny thing. You can use whatever as long as it's clear that you have it. I may bring a little Lego town. Who knows? Could be fun.
I'll also point out that Matt Tabek of WotC tweeted the following as a rules tip with no context. Lands and tokens are permanents. Counters and emblems are not.
Da 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 da.
So all you token deck folks out there.
Yeah. All of you land deck folks out there too. All of you have a bunch of treasures. Why not? It's all there. It's all good. So you guys are looking at the tweet. Are you looking at it full screen like I am? Because
yes,
the way things are right now, Aaron Forsyth's picture has the word deranged hermit right above it, and that's all I can see now.
I mean, if the card fits.
I don't know if that's on purpose or not, and I don't care.
The thing, so when I look at Ascend, all I see is like a flavorful placeholder for, I don't know, some sort of meeting some kind of condition. And like this was sent to me by AJ earlier, and he's like, he started with "I love Ascend," and I'm like, what? I was like, is this a card game? What is this? Is this a board game? Is this? I don't know what you're talking about. And he sent me a link, and I went, oh, it's a magic thing. He's like, it's a powerful magic thing, and it finally tells us what the blessing of the city is. And I immediately went into like jaded game design person, and I'm like, it's a token / emblem / counter thing that, when attained, means different things according to different cards. He's like, wow, so bah humbug. I'm like, I mean, it's a neat, flavorful way to do it, but that's all it is. It's calling it the city's blessing and giving you this cute little card just replaces the, if you have X or more life, or if you control 10 or more permanents, or if you have 7 cards in your graveyard. And they found a way to do that and make it neat, but that's still all it is. And it bothers me that was my first response.
I mean, I've been through the phase of, oh, it's another kicker variant for every third mechanic.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's the big shocker is that the vast majority of Magic is just a different way of packaging the same parts of the game. But that's also why we can learn and play it more intuitively with experience.
It's true. It really bothers me that my first response was just jaded.
I think in the case of your response here, it's like Ascend is not inherently powerful at all. It's just a trigger. Well, it's an enabling element.
Yeah.
Like what they put on the rest of the card is interesting, and what other cards are printed will determine if it matters or not. It's just a streamlined way to do it, because rather than having to stop and count every time for the rest of the game, you can just be like, oh, okay, you have the blessing back.
Yeah, exactly. It makes
Which
it
I
so
like.
good.
That's nice. Like, that's more convenient than the perpetually miserable games. Like, okay, so how many cards are in your graveyard? All right, and how many, like, do you have devotion? Okay, and is there, like, how many cards? There's like different types. All right, cool. And so, oh, you just hit me with a Goyf. Okay, never mind. This is cleaner. This is a clean shorthand. I sincerely doubt that 10 will ever vary because it's an ability text or whatever. Keyword text. So cool. We will see more cards in the future, I'm sure. I think this will be fun to play with if done well, because this means that they expect you to have a bunch of permanents out in order for this to work. And that means they might have finally found a balance in game tempo where you don't have to go between, Zendikar and Rise of the Eldrazi in order to make decks work. Like, if they've actually found a distinct phase 1 and phase 2 of the game, and that's going to be how it works, I'm all for that for a set. So,
Yeah, and somebody tweeted at Aaron Forsyth that they're uneasy about this because it'll depend on whether or not the city's blessing is interactable. Because what does he say? Advantages that can never be taken away feel bad to play against.
Have you ever played with emblems?
Well, Aaron Forsyth, well, that's what he's pointing out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like Planeswalker emblems. And Aaron Forsyth responded, you have permanents 1 through 9 to interact with. And dude's like, yeah, but if you take them back below 10, they won't take away the city's blessing. And someone else pointed out, no, it means you just stop them from getting to 10, because 10 permanents is a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in the early game, 10 permanents is a lot.
Like, you're not going to be getting your Ascend on until probably turn 6 or 7, at which point anything you do is going to be broken anyway, so party on. Like, if you're going a dedicated token build, then awesome sauce. You've put a whole bunch of stuff out there, it might get board wiped. That's the way the game works. I'm not going to sweat that too much. That said, I will be entertained if there are cards that have Ascend and generate tokens. Because it would actually be pretty funny if it was, generate 2 soldier tokens. If you've got the city's blessing, instead generate a soldier token for each creature you control. Like, there's a world of stuff you could build there. It could be awesome. And I believe in their ability to work well with this. Because, as noted, they've been making these cards for 2 decades. It's just streamlined now. There is nothing inherently new about this.
But it does seem pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Yay. And
now get all hyped about it and come back in January when they show us the rest of the set.
I mean, on Christmas Day, they're going to throw up, like, something crazy, right? Because it seems like they always do.
Yeah, but I can at least tell you right now, it's not going to be Nicol Bolas. Because per tradition, we find out about Nicol Bolas 4 months before they want us to every time. So,
as Nicol Bolas would have it.
Like, 100% of the time, we find out about Nicol Bolas 2 to 3 months earlier than they want us to. So, he is not going to be attacking us in January.
Is it Emrakul?
We find out about Emrakul begrudgingly after everyone else has found out about it and we think they're stupid.
Oh, okay.
That said, check the moon. Could be bad. That's why you sky check, Cluze. So, shall we fast forward through Magic Online?
Yeah, because that's all we've got here, so let's go to the motos.
It will not take long because, as usual, they post these things on Tuesdays. Today's Monday. The vast majority of the Magic Online news is irrelevant. So that was fun. The main thing is just a reminder of what I mentioned last week, where they've been running Vintage Masters flashbacks since the 13th. They'll be running through this Wednesday, the 20th. Then starting on the 20th, they're going to do Vintage Cube, which you can, find a link to information about in the show notes. And yeah, have fun. That's it. If you really want to know your Magic Online news, go to Wizards' website, then go to Products, Magic Online, and see what they post on the 19th. I suspect that will be the last Magic Online update of the year. I sincerely doubt they're going to be posting anything next week. In fact, we're kind of at the point of the year where normally they just put the Magic website in flashback mode anyway. So
it actually is. Other than the one announcement today about the Duel Decks and the Challenger decks, it is in flashback mode.
Yeah, so I would not hold my breath on more Magic Online news either unless they need it. So there you go. Let us wrap up.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at SqueeGoblinNabob. There's no I in Goblin because it's probably out watching Star Wars a 3rd time or something. I don't really know with that guy.
Man, I still haven't seen it twice yet.
Well, I mean, it happens. I have seen it twice, and I will say that the second time was more enjoyable than the first time. The first time I watched it, I'm like, okay, that movie was probably a B- for me. The second time it was a B+. I'm that person who's taken a middle stance on this movie. So there you have it. They do exist.
I thought it was awesome.
Which is fair. But yeah, we'll not be posting or speaking spoilers. There's plenty of time for that later. For right now, if you want to go watch it and you haven't, go watch it. Have fun. If you don't want to watch it, that's fair too.
Okay, minor spoiler, I really hated it when the Ferengi showed up.
Dude, they were the best part. Well, who else is going to be there for the Latinum?
Yeah, but they didn't even help against the Cylons, man.
They never help. That's their point. They represent capitalist glory. They're not here to help you.
No, they're here to help themselves.
But Cylons, man.
Look, you're just bitter because the Ferengi were the last Jedi. Oops. I'm sorry. No, that didn't happen. That is not a spoiler. No.
It's cool.
Don't worry about it.
I'll delete that.
Yeah. Since, Chewie clearly just edited out what I said. No, there was no spoiler. You're fine. You're good. Go enjoy that movie while you can, because they're not making any more. Hey, Cluze, go ahead.
I held it together until they're not making any more, and that, I'm sorry, that is so demonstrably false. Oh, so hi everybody. Hey, before I sign out here, I happen to have, since this is a thing we do from time to time, a new set happened. We like to open up packs to see if there's value to be had there and maybe to enjoy them. I have here, dear listeners, 3 packs of Unstable in front of me. Okay. So here's what I want you to do, listener out there. It doesn't have to be Steve while he's on the bus. Could be anybody. Just go ahead and when I say go, just say 1, 2, or 3. Okay, ready? Go.
2.
Okay, I'm glad I heard you, dear listener. I'm going to take that pack. The number that you just said, that's this one right here. So see, we have the technology to make it interactive. So here is a pack of Unstable. I'm going to open this pack right now, and we're going to see what's inside. And we're going to see. I'm going to ask Squee and Chewie, if you were drafting this, what is your pick 1 of this? This is pack 1. We're not yet set on any particular strategy. So
I'm going to open the card image gallery to read it all.
Yeah, I've got it open already.
Because you're probably going to need those, since you may not have memorized what these all do. First, let me say, it is really strange to open up a pack of cards and to have silver borders on it. It's very strange for me. So, our first card is a Bumbling Pangolin.
Ooh.
It's a red card.
Pangolins
destroys
are
an
awesome.
Artifact. It's a pangolin. Yeah, we could go straight pangolins here.
It's a host, too. So
it is a host.
Yeah.
Yes. A nice trigger, a 2/2 body for 4. Anyway, with a trigger, it's not terrible. Card number 2 is the Steady-Handed Mook. It is a black card. It's a human rigger, so if we want to go riggers, this is the way to go. It assembles a contraption when it comes in.
I mean, that's a viable start.
All right. Next up, we have a red card. It is Hammer Helper. It's a sorcery. Lets us grab a creature till end of turn and roll a die, gains haste, gets a bonus. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I kind of like Hammer Helper.
That seems pretty viable.
Yeah, man,
Sorcery, though, so keep that in mind.
Need a hammer? Gotta get your fix? I know a guy.
Next up, we have Wild Crocodile. Also a host. It's green. I should announce colors. That'll make it easier for you guys to find these.
I'm using Control F, so.
Yeah, I'm also using Control F.
Well, then it's for the people at home, so they can find them. The Wild Crocodile. 1 and a green for a 1/1. Go get a land, put it into your hand. That's not terrible if we want to go there. Next up, we have Success! Exclamation point. Which is an instant, gives a bonus to our creature, gains lifelink if it's a host or has augment. That's nice.
I know where the seal deck would be going.
Okay, next up, we have Merman. He is also a host, a human fish. Draws us a card. He's a 3/3 for 5. It's a blue card, though, not feeling it.
But it's a fish. You like fish.
Next up, the band. Yeah, I enjoyed them. Next up, we have Willing Test Subject, also a green card. It is a spider monkey scientist. It's winning just on type right now.
Yeah, that's pretty up there.
2/2 with reach. Lets us roll a die. That's nice. Okay, next up, we have an artifact. It is the Mad Science Fair Project. It's an artifact for 3 mana. Tap it, roll a 6-sided die. On a 3 or lower, we can add some mana. Otherwise, add 1 mana of any color. Okay, so we get colorless or colored.
That does keep you open for other colors in the next.
It does. That could be useful. Next up, we have Garbage Elemental. Which Garbage Elemental is the question? It's the one that has Frenzy 2.
So the first one that's actually in the card image gallery. Yeah. Nice.
Hooray, that's convenient.
Frenzy 2 and can't be blocked by wordy creatures.
By wordy creatures, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was our first uncommon, was the Garbage Elemental. Our next uncommon is Teacher's Pet. It's a cat bird scientist. Yeah, we can go and get an augment card.
You were known for your love of cats.
Yeah, Catbird Scientist. It's got a great picture. Let me say that.
That is pretty great.
Okay, then we have Party Crasher. It's a Goblin Berserker with haste. And you can attack with it once each combat during each opponent's turn.
Yep.
Seems good. And our rare is Hot Fix. Hot Fix.
Oh, wow.
Four white and a blue, 10 seconds to look at and rearrange the cards in your library. At the end of those 10 seconds, if you're touching one or more of those cards, shuffle your library. So there you go.
Super index, you say?
What else do we have in this pack? We have an island.
Oh.
I don't want to draft that. Our contraptions, we have the Goblin Slingshot, which is a rare contraption.
Ooh, Goblin.
Whenever you crank Goblin Slingshot, creatures you control get +2/+0 and gain trample till end of turn. That seems pretty good.
Yeah.
And the Turbo Thwacking Auto Hammer as a contraption. When you crank it, target creature gains double strike till end of turn. That's pretty good. And a nice foil Saproling token.
Ooh.
Foil on one side, full-sized art, full card art on the other.
Nice.
Pretty spiffy. Okay, so pick one, pack one, gentlemen. What are you taking?
The island.
Okay, let's assume you got to keep the island anyway.
Ooh, baller. Because that's the money card.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
Full Art Island is the money card for this set. Okay, so assuming past that, I'm kind of torn because on the one hand, I like the tutor for the augment cards.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a lot of fun to play with. Because I really want to have to make that choice of what do I want to build today.
I could see that, yeah.
But on the other hand, I really appreciate the ability to use the Goblin Slingshot as often as possible. And then I'm only really in on contraptions as a concept.
Yeah,
so
is pretty good.
I'm gonna go with the Goblin Slingshot largely because the art on it terrifies me, and it should terrify my opponent.
It should terrify any right-thinking person, yes.
Also, at only 3 lines of text, it's not going to come back to bite you that you're passing the wordy one.
Oh, good point.
Got to play the meta.
The garbage elemental, sure.
Yeah, the garbage elemental. Plus, if you take that, there's a decent chance that you'll be able to actually table one of the other contraption cards. So, who knows? You might actually get your Hammer Helper back, depending on how well that works here. Could be fun.
All right, Chewie, your thoughts? What are you taking?
I mean, the one that jumped out at me was also the Goblin Slingshot. Although I have to say, I love the name on Turbo Thwacking Auto Hammer.
that is pretty good.
But I don't know. Like, I thought about Hotfix because with a 40-card deck, Hotfix should be pretty easy to
just do whatever you need.
Get like 3 cards on top that you want.
Yeah.
But it is 6 mana. That's my only.
Yeah, that is
a
problem.
It's a lot of mana.
So I think I would also have to take the Slingshot. Like, I haven't looked to see how much dice rolling is actually in here.
A lot.
Because Willing Test Subject could be neat. It does have reach, which stops, the flying run you over thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I should just go with the, what was it called again? Slingshot.
The Goblin
Slingshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I was just going to say, that said, Cluze, had you opened a half squirrel, that would have taken priority overall.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Yeah, I mean, that's clearly an unwritten rule. I'm going to buck the trends, and I'm going to go for Hammer Helper.
I mean, I respect Hammer Helper.
I figure there's a real good chance that they're going to have a creature that I want to steal and punch them in the face with. And
with a hammer.
It might get a +6/+0. So
which would be terrifying.
Totally going for the Hammer Helper.
And I respect that.
All right, great. Had several hosts, but no augments in this pack.
And that's the problem. Like, I think the augment half is more exciting for me than the host half.
Yeah.
That and all of the hosts we got were kind of meh.
Well, that was a ton of fun. I enjoyed opening my pack of Unstable, and thank you, dear listener, for picking this one and not one of the other 2.
Hooray. The other 2 were clearly less impressive.
They were too stable, quite
Like,
frankly.
yeah, like once you get around to having the start of a deck, once you've picked your like 12 or so cards, then maybe the other ones have a place, but not now. Not like this.
So there you go. Hey, if you want to reach me for reasons, your best bet is the Twitters. I'm at Lacluyze, spelled just like it is in the show notes. That's what I'll say. And have yourselves a wonderful holiday season. Travel safely if you're traveling. Say hi to the family if you're seeing the family. And we'll see you all back next next year.
Same thing.
In the future.
Yay. So is that me then?
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
you.
Fine. Then, yeah, you can find me all over the place. For instance, you can find me on Hiccups. For instance, let's try that again. You can find me on twitch.tv/themanapool, where I stream things. Here lately, I've been streaming Overwatch with Bill and Cap and people.
Woo!
I've been streaming because there's a holiday event. I've been streaming Killing Floor 2 with the same people because there's an extremely creepy holiday event where all of the already creepy zombies have been replaced by even more creepy holiday zombies. Dude, what was the Scrake? Do you remember? I remember Captain Fuego is now a snowman, which was hilarious because he's a snowman that throws fire at you. I can't remember what the Scrake was. Oh, you weren't playing with it.
I wasn't there, so I have no idea. I wasn't aware that Captain Fuego was a snowman now.
Yeah, Captain Fuego's a snowman now. Dude,
that's terrifying.
Yeah, the new skins are actually horrifying.
Oh, well, in that case, maybe, like, Cap should give me more than 3 minutes notice.
Hey, are you doing anything tomorrow night?
Yes.
Curses.
But thanks for trying. I mean, if you play late enough, like, I'm not going to work Wednesday. I can stay up.
Nice. Duly noted. Oh, wait, I can't because I have a drive Wednesday. Anyway, the other thing that I've been streaming lately is Hearthstone because of the dungeon runs. I love the dungeon runs.
You seem to enjoy them, even though they're cruel to you.
They are cruel, but I'm learning that if you make it to the final boss, you're supposed to lose. And if you don't, then it's amazing. I have not lost to the final boss a total of twice now. One of those videos is already up in public. The other one will be going up shortly. Like, once this episode is done, I will start the upload because it's a fairly long run. The last one was only I don't remember how long, but this one is longer. So eventually, hopefully, the plan is to have 9 of these videos up, one for each class. Right now, I've done 2. The mage one was first with Tribal Ronin, and the second one I'm not going to tell you. It was Warlock, and it was bad, and yet it was awesome. Like, I had no intentions of ever winning with it, and it's brilliant. So just check that out when it goes up. What else? I guess that's it, really, for the moment. I really need to take a day and do some more recording of Typing of the Dead and Cuphead, but thus far I haven't had a chance to do that just yet for youtube.com/themanapool, another place you'll find me. Because, I make videos. Also, you can find me on Twitter at @themanapool, facebook.com/themanapool. They seem to have fixed the backdoor thing that would let you post to Instagram from a PC. Which is why nothing new has gone up on Instagram just yet. Because I don't know how. Because they fixed it. Because they're bastards. I don't know why it's so horrible for you to be able to put pictures on Instagram from your PC, but apparently that is taboo beyond all reason. I don't get it. But once I figure out a workaround, I will be putting up more things there. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I guess that's it.
Woo!
I agree, it seems pretty good. So then, if you would like to help support what I do with all of the Twitch streaming and YouTube videoing and 2 podcasts every week, except for next week and probably the week after, then you can check out patreon.com/themanapool, where every little bit helps, and I really do appreciate it. You can get the early stuff, Manapool episodes and YouTube videos, you'll get early. You can get that and the odds and ends, all the stuff recorded before and after, both Monday Night Magic and the Manapool, that are uncensored and unfiltered, and you can listen to Cluze swearing at me loudly and frequently.
There may be swearing.
There's definitely swearing. And if you want, you can get both of those things and the highest tier, where I will read your name off on all the podcasts, and you will have your name on the end slate for all of the videos. They go up each month you support at that tier. And to that end, I would like to thank Kim Ho, Andrew Hunt, Al, Paul David, Lands Delicious, Team U Hellas Haryu, John Morris, Stuart Slaw, PJ McMullen, Bosco Brittain, Casey, Nathan Hay, AJ Javieres. He's the guy who told me about Ascend earlier. Cody Buckowing, Jacob Jansons, Jason Kaus, Gothic Man, that's Patrick, Brian DeLucci, Stark Maximum, Dan Holm, Mike Miller-Burned, and the Beast Father, Aaron Goodwine. Thank you all so very much for your exceeding generosity. I couldn't do it without you. Is it bad that every time I get to Stark Maximum, I want to say, oh, hi, Stark, just to make him like spit out whatever he's drinking while he's listening?
Well, I mean, you still did it. So
By the way, Stark, clean that mess up. So, yeah, there you go. In other news, later this week, Bill and I will be going to see The Disaster Artist.
Woo!
Cluze already saw it.
I did, yeah. It's definitely worth seeing.
I intend to.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess that's it for other news. So then, with that, I guess we'll be done. Yeah. So this has been episode 588.
2-300.
There it was.
Empire.
Oh, God. Of Monday Night Magic here on the MTG Cast Network. Thank you all so very much for listening, and go play some Magic.